Well, after reviewing the video of me taking the fork apart, as you can see I have it apart right here, I wasn't real happy with the camera angle and things. There were some things that were out of view and all that kind of stuff. So bear with me at the beginning of this video when I'm taking this fork apart. I got to the part where I needed to order some more parts, so I stopped the video. Thankfully I did, so now I can finish it. I'm going to be putting this fork back together, adding oil to it, new seals, new bushings, all that kind of stuff. And then I still have to do the other fork leg as well. I just want to let you know I am going to be referencing my book. I do have a book. It's got all the information I need, so I won't be guessing on things. I do have a torque wrench. I'm going to be torquing things down and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I just wanted to move in here in the garage where I have more space where I could spread things out. It was so tight in there with that big Goldwing and all the parts that I have taken off of it kind of in the way. So I don't really have room to work. I didn't have room in there to move the camera far enough away to get a wider shot. And I missed a lot of stuff, I think. I don't know. I have to, whenever I go to do the video, edit it and all that, I'll know. So anyway, I don't want to go on with the talking. Let's go ahead and get started with the front forks and rebuilding them. Hello and welcome back to Herbie's Garage. Today we're on the 2002 Honda GL1800 Goldwing. And today is fork day. I'm going to take the forks apart. I got my seal kit in, and this is what I got. It's all balls 56-139, and it comes complete with the seals and the dust seals, both. I've used these before. They seem to work pretty well. So we're going to go ahead and get started disassembling the left fork. I've already pre-loosened this bolt at the bottom. You can see it down in the hole down in there. And we're just going to take that all the way out and drain the oil out of it. That bolt's kind of tight. It's good to do this now before you take the cap and the spring and all that stuff off, because you'll lose your pressure on it and this bolt will just spin and spin and spin. Boy, this oil looks really bad. There should be a sealing washer in there. We'll see if it stays in. Yeah. I don't know what that is. Something came off somewhere. Well, it's got more oil in it than I thought it would have, because this one here was the one that had the bad seal leak. Boy, this stinks. Woo! I don't know why fork oil smells so bad after it's been in a while. This does. This stinks. Got most of that out. I'll go ahead and take this cap off. It's a 17 millimeter or 3/4. Okay. There's the cap. There's the spacer. Be a washer on top of the spring. There's the washer. And the spring. See if we can get any more oil out of it. Well, that's pretty much it. This is kind of a messy job. You got to kind of stay organized a little bit. Keep you plenty of towels around. Okay, now I want to try to take this dust seal out. You got to be really careful not to nick your fork. So you just take a little at a time and work it out. And there's the dust seal. And this tapered part goes to the top, smaller part. Okay, down inside here, is the spring that locks it in, the spring clip. And you just want to get inside of it and pop it out. This one here was in there pretty hard, but this is what the clip looks like. This one's still stuck in there. There we go. And then we take the clip off. Alright, now we got to separate the two. And we just got to pull that seal out. We'll set the bottom half there. And we'll kind of inspect this. Looks like these bushings have a little bit of wear on them. Yeah. It looks like they do. Just in case you're interested, the top part number is for the seals. The bottom part number is for the bushing kit. Both of these are all balls. And here's the lower bushing. You can see that's just coming completely off of it. It's peeling off and it's wore down pretty bad. So it was time to replace it. This one here has the copper completely gone on it almost. So yeah, these needed to be replaced. And I guess we'll go ahead while we're right here. We got to do this anyway. We might as well just go ahead and get started and change this O-ring. Have this ready so don't forget. Easy enough. Okay, so now we're going to take this bottom bushing and we're going to put this on. We'll probably just put a screwdriver in it and just give it just a little bit of a spread. It's not going to take a lot. We don't want to spread it any more than what we have to. And we'll slide it on. Snap right into place. Fits perfectly. Okay, then we'll take our bushing. We'll slide that down. And then we have, excuse me, we have our washer. We'll slide that down. I don't know what you call this thing. It's not a washer, but I can look in the book and see what it's called. Matter of fact, I'm gonna look in the book real quick because I want to make sure. I'm pretty sure that this goes on like this: bushing, and then this piece here. Yeah, the bottom one is called a slider bushing. And then the next one that goes on is the guide bushing. And then this is called a backup ring. And then the oil seal. And then the stopper ring. And then the dust seal. So that is correct. Alright, I'm going to take me a little bit of this fork oil. Take just a little bit of this fork oil, and I'm going to put on these bushings. And get all this lubricated before I put it in. And I'm going to slide this into the tube. Okay, now that stopper rod on the inside, where we have to put our washer and our bolt, will not be able to contact it more than likely. It's just going to keep getting pushed in. So we're going to shove this all the way down, and we're going to temporarily put this all back together. Okay, then the washer goes in after the spring, and then the spacer. Now screw this down a little bit. I don't have to go all the way down, but I'm going to leave that together like that, push tight. Okay, then I'm going to take my 6mm and put it on my bolt. Take a little bit of blue thread locker. Put on that. And then we'll be going through this hole with the sealing washer. And we'll be screwing it into the fork. And you take your torque wrench. I have mine preset to 14 foot-pounds. And then we're going to torque it. Okay. Okay. Alright, then I'll take my cap back off. Take my spacer out. Washer. Spring. And then we want this okay, we want these parts to go down below the seal. So we're going to take our seal driver and we're just going to push it down. Real nice and easy. It goes down below the ring. You can see it down in there. I had to push it down just a little bit because it was up above the seal area. Okay, now this part here is the part where, you know, it's kind of personal preference on if you want to put anything on this shaft to protect your seal when you put it on. I've always found the easiest thing would be just to put a little bit of tape on it. And when I get to the top, I try not to get too much wrinkles in it. And when I get to the top, I'll just fold it over a little bit or leave it sticking proud out of the top. So I won't have to worry about cutting my seal when I get to put it on at the top like that. See, that's what I want to do, because the reason I went down this far was because it has a little bit of rust pits up here. It's good down here, but up here it's got a little bit of rust pits, and I have this sticking up over the top, and I'll just slide the seal over that and drop it down in there. So here's my old parts. I don't want to confuse these, so I'm going to put these on the ground. And here's my new stuff, my new ring. I know people probably drive people crazy with that opening stuff with my teeth, but I got my knife over there too. I don't know why I do that. All right. Now, there's a certain way to put these seals in. Got to make sure you put them in the right way. And you can tell the difference between the seals because the dust seal has like a lip on it. Spring's going to go down towards the oil, down that way. That's the dust seal. And this is the fork seal. It's kind of confusing when you look at it which way to put it in. Well, let me give you a closer look at it. If you look at this seal, it's a little bit thicker at the top, a little bit thinner at the bottom, but it's got a lip down here. It's got a spring on both sides. But you don't want to be confused about which way it goes in. See the notches? Those notches will go up. So this part slides down into your fork. This will be up, and this will be the part you'll be driving with your seal driver on. I'm just going to pour a little bit of oil in this pan over here so I could have something to dip into. And I'm going to coat this seal good on the outside and on the inside. And then I'm going to coat this tape and the shaft. Make sure it's good and slick. Okay, make sure I have it the right direction. And I'll just slide it over. Down in there like that. And I'll take my seal driver. If you're wondering about this seal driver, this is a cheap one. I didn't really have one. I looked online for a Motion Pro. This is a 45 millimeter fork, and I was going to buy the 45 millimeter seal driver, but it would have been like a week and a half out. I didn't really want to wait that long. I probably should have, but this looks like it'll work. I don't know if you've seen this kit on Amazon, but it comes with a lot of different assorted sizes, so you're not stuck with just one size for one particular fork. And it's got their plastic inserts. Well, what I found was this thing kind of wants to fall apart all the time. I haven't used it yet, but I was just kind of playing around with it. This is a 2-piece here, and this is 2-piece, and it's got a little hole here, and it snaps, when that kind of snaps into the hole. It doesn't stay great, but it does stay. And then I zip tied it together to make it easier to use. because it'll want to fall apart on you all the time. I think this is going to be the best and easiest way to do this. And then we'll just take it and drive it home. Just kind of turn it as you go. I'm going to put it down on the ground where I get a good hit. Okay. Now let's take this back off. As you can see, that ring is exposed in there now, or that spot to where the ring goes is exposed. So then I'll just take the ring and the lock ring, I'll slide it down. And you want to do this by hand at first until it gets down into the hole. And then you just push it down in. And when it's all the way in, that snap ring will be snapped into place, and then it locks it completely in place. So now I'm going to take my dust seal, and I'm going to put a little bit of oil on that. Well, apparently I was wrong about the way this dust seal goes on. Looks like the spring faces up, because if you put it the other way, it doesn't want to go down and stay in there. Whenever you pull the rod up, the dust seal comes up with it. So this is the proper way to put it in. Looks like it's in all the way. Let me just double check it. All right, let me go ahead and take the tape back off of it. All right, now that you got the tape off of it, we're just going to spray a little bit of cleaner on there to clean off the little bit of glue, residual glue that might have been on it. Okay, and that's what it looks like when it's put together. It says 17.9 plus or minus 0.08, so 18 ounces. That's what I'm putting in it. So let me go ahead and grab my pitcher here. One thing I love about this pitcher, I don't know if you've ever seen one like this. I hadn't. I got it on Amazon, but got the numbers on the inside. And boy, that makes it so much easier. I don't know how much oil I have left in this. I think I have enough. So I'm going to bring it up to 18 ounces. Right about there. Perfect. Okay. So now that I got the proper amount of oil in there, we'll go ahead and pour it in. And in case you're wondering, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, I'm using a 15 weight. The book calls for a 10 weight. But the way I look at it, and this is just my opinion, is over time, over thousands of miles of riding, the components probably weaken a little bit, the springs. So, whoa, that's almost up to the top. I gotta get it worked in there. Get the air out of it and get it worked into the system there. So I thought, well, probably a heavier weight oil would be better. I like 15 weight oil on my street bikes anyway. You know, that's a lot of personal preference. There's a guy I know that, not I know, but a guy that I have watched on YouTube, you know, we like to watch YouTube videos, who is supposed to be an expert on suspension on motorcycles. And he claims, you know, there's adjustments you can make even to the amount of oil that you put in your machine and your forks to give it softer dampening or firmer. Myself, I like to stick to the factory recommendations if at all possible. And after you get this worked in, according to the book, you have 5 inches from the oil to the top of the fork leg. And I have this little fancy tool right here. It's for this. I've got it set for 5 inches, and it's not touching it. So what I can do is put just a little bit more in it. Because you lose a little bit in your cup. I'll set that on there and we'll see what it looks like. Yep, it's in the oil now. So let's see if I can pull out. And this is the way this works. You know, you got to have your fork leg straight, have this attached and set at the proper depth, and then it'll suck up any oil that is above the 5-inch mark. Boy, that's almost exactly the amount that I put in. It isn't much. So our next step is we're going to measure our spring, because according to the book, there is a service limit on this spring, and the service limit is like 12.9 inches, and I think it's 13.2 to 12.9. If it's below 12.9, it needs to be replaced. And looks like I'm at 13 1/8 of an inch, so my springs are still good. Now, if you look at this spring, it's more tightly wound at the bottom than what it is at the top. You can get your finger in between up here, but you can't down here. The tighter wound goes in first. Take it slow. You don't want to splash the oil out. Put your spacer in, your washer, and then your spacer. Bring your fork leg up. Make sure your new O-ring's on it. Make sure your new O-ring has an oil coating on it. Now, let me caution you, one thing about putting these fork caps on is that this is a fine thread, and it's very easy to get it cross-threaded. So because you're pushing down with spring pressure and all that, if you feel a lot of resistance, stop. Or if you feel resistance, it doesn't have to be a lot, but if you feel resistance, stop. Because you don't want to mess your fork or your threads up in there. Okay, so the left leg fork is completely rebuilt, new bushings, new seals, nice fresh oil to the proper level. So now we'll move on to the other fork. Okay, so now we'll take our other fork leg And before we do anything, we're going to break it loose at the bottom. All right, we're going to take our other fork leg now, and we're going to take this bolt out and drain it out the bottom first, and then we'll disassemble everything. I've already broken loose this bolt. These bolts are tight now. They have quite a bit of torque to them, 14 foot-pounds. And then, you know, they're blue Loctite on them, so it's got a little bit of torque to it that you got to break loose. Okay, take your bolt out. Okay, now we can go ahead and dump all of our oil out. Oh my. This one's about out of oil. And it seems to be real thin too. Try to get out as much as I can. Okay, now this one is going to be a little bit different on the fork because this cap is locked onto the rod, the dampener rod, and we have to unscrew it. Off of the rod. So you just want to pull it down a little bit. I think it was a 14 millimeter. Is that correct? Yeah, it looks like it. And then we'll take the cap off once we hold that nut. See, there's a nut right there that you got to break loose. And once you get that loose, then you can unscrew your cap. We're just going to leave that nut right there where it's at. And we'll go ahead and take off our spacer. Spacer looks smaller on this side, looks like. I think. May not be, but kind of looks like it. Then we'll remove our spring. So we've got our spring, our washer, and our spacer, and our cap. So now my hands are all oily, but let's go ahead and take this dust seal off. This dust seal on this one's real bad. It's cracked. Probably how the seal got ruined. Got a little bit of dirt in there. Just take your time, make sure you break that open just a little at a time so you don't accidentally gouge your fork. I'm trying to work in this pan because I don't want to get oil everywhere. All right. There's the old dust seal. Now I'm going to take my pick, pull out the locking ring. Like that. I don't want to mix them up, so I'm going to get it out of the way. Then I'm just going to pop this seal out. Alright. Yeah, this one's bad too, looks like. Okay, there's a oil seal. Take that off. And we got this ring. Put it there. And this bushing. I'll show you almost all the copper's gone off of this one too. Bushing's bad. I'm really thankful for Amazon on stuff like this. Boy, it sure made it easy. I just had to wait a couple of days to get it, but sure made it easy being able to get it. Now, this bushing don't look as bad. This one actually doesn't look horrible. It does have some wear to it, so it's definitely going to get replaced, but it's a lot better than the other side was. This screwdriver really isn't big enough to spread this old one. I mean, it just barely does. There we go. And there's the old bushing on that one. Yeah, that one's not horrible. It does have some wear right there. But if both of these bushings were like that and this copper wasn't wore off the other one, I'd probably reuse that. But thankfully we got new ones, and we're going to rebuild it. Just like that, it's all cleaned up. This piece was in the bottom and it was inside the tube. I just wanted to make you aware of that. So we'll get started by, we'll do the cap first. Put a new O-ring on it. That O-ring still felt pretty pliable. It felt a little bit loose, but it still felt pretty good. O-rings are reusable for quite a while, as long as they're not overheated or anything like that, which this wouldn't be. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of oil in here so I don't forget to lubricate this seal. I did do the other one, but I just want to make sure that I don't forget that. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so that part's ready. Now we need to put this bottom bushing on, and we'll just use this screwdriver, and we'll just kind of wedge it in between there like that. And I'll just twist my screwdriver a little bit to get it started. Try to get it up here where you can see it a little bit. And that's a good fit on there. You know, I read online, I don't know if it was this bushing or not, but somebody said they had to file it or something to get it to work. Well, as you can see, that fits perfectly on here. Okay, now that we've got our guide bushing on there, we'll go ahead and install this little piece. This little piece goes inside of here, and it sits down the bottom down there. I want to show you it goes in this direction. That little tapered spot fits down into a groove at the bottom, and then the bottom of this rod will sit into it like that. So this sits down in here. Make sure you get that lined up. And then we'll take our fork leg, coat this bushing with oil, set it down on there. We'll drop this piece in here. Make sure it goes down in there the right way. And then, let me look. And then our guide bushing Put some oil on it. Goes on. And then the backer ring. And we'll slide our little driver on here. Make sure that goes down in the hole. Okay, it's down in there. Okay, now we'll just take some tape, like we did on the other one. Try not to get it too tightly wound on here. You know what I mean? You don't want to make it too thick, but you don't want any, you know, clumps, is what I'm trying to say, in it. All right. Now, pull that together and kind of fold that in a little bit so that edge won't cut the seal. And we'll coat this with oil. Make sure that slides on there good. We'll take our seal, inside and outside, make sure we get a good coating. Okay, then we'll slide it. We'll put it in the right way where the notches are facing up. And then we just grab it and make sure it's straight. And slide it all the way down. Okay. We'll take our driver. It bounces too much up here. I'm going to have to put it back on the floor. Yep, that looks good. Take our driver back off. Take our lock ring. Drop it down in there. You just want to kind of push on it to make sure that it's in the groove. Yeah, lock ring's in all the way around, the seal's all the way down. So then we'll take the dust seal with the spring facing up. A little bit of oil on both sides. Just slide it down in there and push it down in. Okay. Now, let's see if I can find the beginning of this tape. I've used wax paper. I've used plastic bags. I've used different things over the years to protect the seal by putting on here. But the tape works good. It's easy on, easy off. As long as you clean it off, you don't leave any residue on it. Works pretty good. Okay. Now we have that bushing down at the bottom I showed you. So now we're going to drop this in. And we got to leave this rod up if we can. Just drop that down in there gently. Almost put that in the wrong way. Tightly wound goes down. That rod's dropping. There's no oil pressure in it to hold it. So just take you a pair of needle nose and pull it back up. Washer. Spacer. Okay, I'm going to temporarily put the cap on here. I'm not going to set the lock nut yet because I still need to put this screw in the bottom. Okay, that's down far enough. Now we'll take our screw, put some thread locker on it, some blue thread locker, with our sealing washer on it, and we'll stick it through the hole here. And we'll screw this down. All right. I still have this set for 14 foot-pounds. And we'll hold it. Now this works better if you have a vise or something to clamp onto it, but sometimes you just gotta make do. You don't need special tools, fancy tools to do this kind of work. I know sometimes you'll see videos where people say, well, you need a fork vise, you need all these different expensive tools, just like this tool. This was an inexpensive tool, but it worked pretty well. And I could reuse it again on other projects, you know, to fit other motorcycles. So I'm happy about that. Okay, so everything's done. All we have to do now is take this all back apart, fill it full of oil, and then we'll put it back together again. Take the cap off. Spacer, washer, spring. Okay, so now this part stays in because it's screwed into through that screw in the bottom. So let's see what this one takes. This one, the right one, takes 16.4 plus or minus 0.08. Well, according to the book, it's 5 inches on the level, so I could use my gauge on this as well. The 16.4 is going to be a little more difficult to judge. We'll just go a little bit over 16. Okay, that's a little over 16. In case you're wondering about the oil, I don't know if I showed it or not, but that's what I'm putting in it. I do have the Honda SS8 oil, but I have it in 10 weight, so I wanted 15 weight. That's why I went with this. I could have ordered 15 weight, I guess, Honda oil, but I've used this Bel-Ray oil many times and it works really well. Besides that, it's green. Not that that matters, but now I'm sure you guys have probably heard of people putting transmission fluid in their forks. And you know, in a pinch, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, but I would prefer to use regular fork oil. Got to get all the air out of it. When I cleaned it up, I cleaned all the fluid out of inside of here and everything, so there it is. Ooh, now it's hard to pull. One more time and then we'll call it good. It should hold the rod up after this one. I'm not sure if that rod has to be down on the measurement or not, but whenever I measure it. See where it's at. Yeah, that looks about 5 inches. I'll push it down and see if it's any different. I don't think that's any different. I think it stayed the same. So let's put our measuring tool on there. Try to make it as straight as possible. Well, that's all it took. Sucking air now, so it's not very much. It's about the same as what the other one took, I think. Okay, I've got the proper amount of oil in it. So now we'll go ahead and put it back together. Tightly wound section goes down first. Spring washer, spring seat, whatever you want to call it. Spacer. Leave our lock nut loose. Okay, I didn't move the adjusting nut. I left it where it was from where it was set from the factory, I guess. I don't know if this has ever been changed the way it looks. So we'll go ahead and tighten this down. This lock nut is also 14 foot-pounds, I believe. There we go. Now we've got everything assembled. Go ahead and pull the tube up. All right, I'm going to wait to tighten that, to torque that down to proper torque. Once I get these in the bike, get those bottom clamps tightened down, I'll tighten this down to proper torque, and then I'll tighten the other clamp at the top. So we'll get that as a final step for our fork rebuild. I think that's looking good. All right, that'll be it for the fork rebuild. They're both done. I think everything's done properly, so we ought to be good with this. Now that we got the Tire changed in the front. The wheel bearing's done. Forks are done. Steering stem bearing, I have it done. That'll probably be the next video. And I'll probably also have a video of disassembly and assembly of everything. It's going to be quite a bit of a process on that one. Probably a long video. This one's probably longer than what I wanted it to be, but there's a lot of things I wanted to cover. And if you want anything that I use in the video, the seal driver, I don't know what else, this tool here for measuring the level of the fork oil, whatever, I'll put a link in the description, the seals and the bushings and all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested and you want to rebuild your forks, go ahead and look down in the description of the video, and you can find them from there and order it yourself. So anyway, enough is enough. Appreciate you coming along. Like the video if you liked it. Join my channel if you would. Subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And leave me a comment. I like to talk to you guys. So anyway, that's all I have for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.